Hello, everyone. Welcome to this RailTech Masterclass. I'm Katia Hubert. I'm Events and Content Manager at EverySense. And we're here today with Damien from Arkema. So I will be hosting this webinar during the moderation, and Damien will be the one sharing his amazing knowledge. Before we start, I wanted to show you around the platform a little bit. I don't know if you guys know Livestorm. So basically, as you can already see on the right side of your screen, you have a panel with chat and a few sections. The chat you already know, as I can see. Let's go around what is interesting for you there. First, you have the polls. We're going to launch a few surveys during this webinar, so you can answer them here, and everyone can see the amount of answers that we have. Other section that's interesting is questions. So on questions, you can ask your questions, obviously. And you can also upvote other people's questions. So if someone asks something that you find very interesting, you can definitely upvote that question. And when we will take questions at the end of the webinar, we will be taking these questions in priority. And lastly, you have the chat, which you already know. And you should already have a little survey that is going on currently, so you can answer to that one. So we get to know a bit more about you and your activities and your relationship to rail freight. How many people do we have now? Yeah. Okay, let's keep going. Well, almost reached 30 people, which is nice. To the matter at hand, speakers. So as I've said, there is two of us. I will be moderating, and Damien will be the main speaker. So welcome, Damien. Thank you very much for being here and sharing your knowledge with our audience. So you're supply chain optimization manager at Arkema, and I will let you speak a bit more about yourself and a few words about Arkema as well, for those I don't know. Shouldn't be, but...
Thank you very much, Katia, and hi everyone. So really nice to be with you this morning. So I would like to introduce myself. So I'm Damien Roussel. So I have 12 years experience in operation project for various industry, and I have been in Arkema for already 5 years, and now I'm moving position. So, but I did a lot of projects around automation, track and trace, operational efficiency. Now I'm moving to a supply chain optimization in a specific business unit in Arkema. And yeah, I would like also to introduce Arkema. So we know Arkema is from chemistry industry, but we are more specialty material oriented as a manufacturing company. We are around 21,000 employees worldwide. It's around 10 billion of turnover, and our share between region is almost 1/3 in Europe, 1/3 in North America, and 1/3 in Asia. So we operate a lot of modes. So for example, road, air, ocean, some multimodal, and also rail. And it's what we are going to talk about today. It's about rail, how to digitalize the rail, and our experience in Arkema. So if we go more in detail about rail in Europe, specifically in Europe for Arkema. So we have a fleet of 550 wagons. So we operate as single wagons, not full train. So we have we have 10 departure sites in Europe, some plant, and we have around 100 destinations all across Europe. And in terms of volume of shipment, is a bit more than 3,000 single wagons that we deliver every year. And in Europe, 2/3 of these shipments are international for example, going from France to Sweden or Germany to to France. So we have a lot of international flows.
Okay, great. Thank you, Damien. On my side, so as I've said, I'm Katia Hubert. I'm Events and Content Manager at Eversense. I've been moderating today, and I will say a few words about Eversense for maybe people that don't know us, or it's always good to do a reminder. So Eversense, we are a French software editing company. And we aim to digitize rail freight operations for industrial shippers in Europe. And we do that thanks to planning, real-time tracking, and optimizing operations inside a collaborative digital platform, which we call the TVMS. As you can see, TVMS stands for Transport Visibility and Management System. And we're currently working with Arkema. So Arkema is using TVMS. And as such, you'll learn a bit more about what we do today during Damien's presentation. I also wanted to say a quick word regarding the RailTech community. So the RailTech community is a new concept that we're launching this year. The aim is to create a community for rail freight professionals and to allow them to share knowledge, network, and truly have a place to converse and learn new things. And that includes exclusive content that will be producing and broadcasting to the members of that community. And the RailTech Masterclass that you're currently in, this webinar, is part of that content. So currently it's open to everyone since it's new, but soon it's going to be exclusive to members of the community. So you will be able to join that community if you're interested. We will send information regarding this and also the replay of the webinar in the follow-up email following this RailTech Masterclass. And hoping to see you all there. And last point of logistics, this session should last around 30 minutes of talking with Damien and myself, and then kind of 15 minutes to do a Q&A and to answer your questions at the end. So let's deep dive into it. So Damien, we're here to talk about going digital with European Rail Freight Project, as we've already mentioned. And as you've mentioned, 2/3 of Arkema's rail shipments are international, and you've been in charge of monitoring them and of managing all of these projects for some time now, with Eversense help recently. And so our audience is here to listen to your best practices, these 5 best practices on the subject. And I was thinking maybe we can start them off with some quick tips on how to successfully lead such a project.
Yeah, sure, Katia. Thank you. The advice I would give is more generic for any digital project, not really specific for rail. But the first thing is you need to someone responsible and coordinating. So you need a dedicated project manager, and this project manager needs to facilitate internally and also externally with the provider all the tasks and everything you need to do. And it's better when this person has really a wide knowledge on business side, but also a bit on technical side, so to have some IT culture. I would not say you don't need to have technical skills, but you need someone that's which is coordinating. So it's really important. The second thing I would like to say about any digital project, so you need to identify champions or at least key user to ensure the success of the project. Especially if you are in a big company, so Arkema is international, so there is a lot of people in the organization and lot of potential user, and we have several business units, so you cannot handle as a project manager all the requests, all the question. So you need to have some people inside the business unit that are trained by you and give the message internally. After, for sure, if there is a deeper question, you can investigate, but you need to some people to give the message into your organization. And the last advice I would give, it's really generic, but change management is key, and it's always underestimated in any organization, I would say, even in Arkema. When you deploy a digital project, so you need to train, you need to guide the team, and you need to be available, because sometimes at the beginning, it's not working 100% as expected, or for example, the coverage of GPS tracking is not 100%. So you need to have a good communication and keep the trust from the team. So there is always a learning curve, and at the beginning, you face a bit of issue, but you need to keep the people motivated and engaged in the change. So it's why, change management is key.
Awesome. Thank you already for these tips. I think they're already pretty useful. And now that we've had that bird view of project management, we can deep dive into your own project. That's why we're here today, and so you can illustrate those tips that you just gave. So what would be the first best practice to ensure smooth international road freight operations?
Yes. So maybe before I start to answer and to give the message and what we have done in Arkema, we have a first question to ask you: is what do you use as a data to manage your fleet of wagons? What do you use to track your shipment? So we will launch a poll, and you will be able to answer. But talking about Arkema, so we started this project a bit more than 4 years ago, and the main constraint we had and difficulties is we were almost blind on international rail shipment. It was difficult to have some information. Where is the wagons? Is it blocked? Is there any issue? So it's why we investigate, and we decided to install some tracker on our rail car. And starting the project, also we discovered that the wagon hiring companies, some has already installed some tracker on the rail cars, something like 40% or 50%. So what we decided, is we wanted to complete, to have to be close to the 100% tracking. So we give the message to the wagon hiring company: okay, we need wagons to be tracked. You can use whatever solution you want. What we will do is we will aggregate in a single platform that is autonomous and not really related to any provider. So it's why we selected EverySense as an independent platform to collect all the GPS data we can get from all the wagons. Also, our business in Arkema is not to manage a fleet of tracker. So it's why also we let the wagon provider to install it, because we have wagons, but most of them, they are rent on the long term. We are, and the hiring company, they are responsible of the maintenance, and it's why also they start to install some tracker to measure the kilometers, etc. But we want to let them manage the wagons and the tracker associated. Also, sometimes we get some question about should we equip 100% of our fleet? I would say at the end, yes. After I can understand that sometimes you want to go step by step, but you know, if you need to track some wagon on some shipment, it's difficult if you equip 1/3 on the wagon, because even one time you ship it together, it always happen that at some point they are separated, and then you miss some tracking. In Arkema, so we decided at the beginning to equip 90% of our fleet. We exclude some really local 200 kilometer, all in France, always the same way. So at the beginning, we exclude that part. But at the end, we end with a 100% tracked fleet for our rail car, because at the end, it's more simple. Even some flow are quite simple. We feel now better with tracking, so now it's really a must-have, and nobody wants to go back to the previous situation where sometimes it happened we can lose some wagons. Also, really important, even you do a project, you install a GPS tracker, so it can happen that at some point the GPS tracker start to fail. It's not a lot, but it's happened, and you need to monitor. Yes, the wagon hiring companies, they are responsible, but we are the first one to detect. So we check daily or weekly, we check where are the wagons, and we are usually the first to detect when something is wrong. So we do some monitoring also every week at central level to check where we are, and if we find an issue, we start to investigate why we don't have visibility. Sometimes it's just the wagon is in a blank area, so it can happen where there is no signal. But when there is really an issue, we try to stop the rail car at the departure plant, and we investigate, and if needed, we can change the tracker. So after the project is deployed, you will need to continue to monitor and to make sure everything is tracked. Yeah.
So as you were saying, so tracking your wagons, that seems being able to do that in real time. It kind of seems like a good place to start to have smooth rail freight operations, so as not to lose them. And even if you do lose a wagon, you can find it quite easily now. And truly bringing this greater visibility to our clients for their shipments, it's one of the driving forces of Eversense. So that's why we're also very happy to help you with that. This capacity now that you have to track your wagons, so it benefits you, obviously, but it's also beneficial for your partners then, I guess.
Yes, exactly. That's a good point. So in fact, GPS tracking is not the only data. So we ask you what data you use, and also we get some information from railway undertakers, for example, Fret SNCF, DB Cargo, Lineas. And then what happened is, after we launched the project, especially on international shipment, we start to have a better visibility to railway undertakers, and it starts to be obvious that in every sense, to have more accurate data, we need to integrate with the railway undertakers, but also railway undertakers can benefit from the GPS positioning, and we could share that with them for them to better operate our fleet, I would say, our shipments. So let's go in detail with the project, what we have done with Fret SNCF. So we launched a first POC, proof of concept, and based on the issue we had. So the issue we had, we were able to track shipment from our plant to the customer, but we didn't get in our system when the rail car is departing our customer to our plant. But so okay, we don't have this in our system, but Fret SNCF have this in their system. So then we launched this project to connect Fret SNCF and EverySense. And as soon as the transport were starting in from the customer, so it's the way back of the wagon, the return. So we were able to track. So it means at the beginning we had only an ETA, estimated time of arrival, to the customer. And after we did this project, we were able to have an ETA for the return of the wagons in our plant. And then, you have more information to plan. And so it's helpful to be more efficient. So that was the first part. So it was a success. And then we start a wider project together with EverySense and Fret SNCF. So we had some technical objective, but also business objective. So the first technical objective, so Fret SNCF was interested to get the GPS position of our rail car. So that was what we gave to them. And on the opposite way, we were interested to have the transport plan from Fret SNCF. Then EverySense can do some calculate some ETA, not based on historical data, statistical. I will not go in their algorithm in the detail, but it's even better if you get really the real transport plan, and then you can give a more accurate ETA, especially from the departure, but also during the wagons trip. So that was the technical objective. But the most important was the business objective. So the three objectives we had was improve the operational efficiencies. How? By sharing GPS position. Before we did the technical, so we opened the access to Fret SNCF to EverySense, and for international shipment, they were able to see when a rail car is not moving, and to try to take some action to be more proactive. So obviously, it was really a clear success really quickly to provide this information especially on international shipment. And then also we wanted to have some common dashboard to evaluate the transport performance. The transport performance is less about, I would say, the transit time. It's really more about the variation we could have. What is difficult with rail is when wagons can take five days to go to a customer, or sometimes 15 days. So it's impossible to plan and to kind of ship just in time. So the most important is to have, for example, 10 days. It's always 10 days, and then it's easier to plan. After you can try to decrease a bit the transit time, but the most important is to be as stable as possible. And then when we have some common understanding with some common KPI of performance, we can discuss together to define some action for performance improvement. Yeah, that's it. Also another point, another key partner to include is our customer. So we do all that also for our customer. And at the beginning of the project, we think about how we will share data with the customer. At the beginning, we say, okay, we want to do like Amazon. We want to have a URL and to share with our customer. So at the beginning of the project, it was not possible. So we did it a bit manually with some screenshot sharing. Okay, when something is late or it's on time. And after, continuing to deploy the every sense and the visibility of rail shipment, we really define a strategy in Arkema, and we had another project called My Arkema. So basically, it's a customer platform. So with this customer platform, we share some data about our product, our orders, what is the status of the order, but also in the future, we will share some track and trace information. And if we talk about rail, we are working currently on it. The idea is not sharing GPS positioning. Arkema is transporting dangerous goods, so this data is quite sensitive to have a real-time GPS positioning on the map. What we will share is the last status of the shipment. So is it in transit? Is it at a rail station? The last known location, for example, like the rail station of Wapi in France, close to Germany, and also the ETA calculated by Eversense. So it's what we are going to share with our customer through the customer portal.
Very interesting. So if we do a midway recap of what you've already said, so the first best practice would be to track your wagons and to have every information regarding this in a single place. And the second best practice is to leverage Actuality's knowledge to foster collaborations with your partners, which includes both the railway undertakers and your customers. So that's like already two good best practice. I'm taking advantage of this midway recap to remind you that we currently have 2 polls going on. If you want to enter them, you just need to click on the little polls section that I've shown you at the beginning, so we can see your answers and how you're doing on your side. But back to you, Damien. So you were actually already speaking about the fact that you do carry hazardous goods, and so safety is important as well into any project that you do with rail, and that's the case for any company in your industry. So maybe you have something regarding this as well.
Yes. So for security. So first thing, what is important is, for example, we have some product like chlorine, so we are not allowed to ship by road. It has to be shipped by rail. And also, most important is being able to have real-time visibility of dangerous goods is really important for Arkema. There is no specific regulation regarding that, but we have an internal policy to say, okay, it's dangerous. We need to know in real time what happens, so you can take some action really quickly. Before we had GPS tracking, sometimes, especially on international, it took some time to know exactly where they are. Now in less than 5 minutes, so we have a full visibility of our fleet, and okay, if something needed, we are faster to react. Also, what we did at the beginning of the project, because in Arkema we really care about the security and the safety, we really check in detail what tracker has been installed and what they are going to install on our rail car. They are ATEX certification, hazardous good area certification, because we wanted to be sure, it's compliant with our plant, but also with the requirement of the customer plant. So it's definitely real-time visibility is a clear asset for safety.
Okay, that's interesting to see that you have both regulations, official regulation, and then you have your own internal rule. to truly want to know where your shipments are, which is, I think, greatly reassuring for everyone involved, considering what your shipments are composed of. And even for you to know that they're in safe conditions if anything unforeseen might happen during the transport, that must be reassuring also internally for Arkema. And you've touched upon it. It's even better if it's not limited to your home country. So that's one more challenge, I guess, to going international, on top of everything else that might already be a struggle, that might have been a struggle for you, and maybe is still currently a struggle for some people in the audience. So we have another question for you. You can see it in the poll section to answer. Do you currently have more difficulties tracking international transports than local transports, so transports in your home countries? Because we know that usually when you go international, it's even more difficult to keep track of your transport. Damien, how is it going on the Arkema side?
Yes, I think, yeah, I will say, yeah, if you are international, it's really a big asset to have GPS tracking. I know it's improving the communication between railway undertaker in Europe. It's improving, but it's taking time. It's 4 years they try to improve. So I would say locally you can survive without GPS, but internationally, I think it's really important to have it. As we discussed before, Fret SNCF, they ask us to have access to our GPS data because our data were better than what they have in their system. After, it's complementary, as I mentioned before. So there is their data, what they have, and what is saying to the GPS, and you can analyze, compare, and if there is a discrepancy, then you can challenge. But yeah, it's definitely my recommendation. If you have international shipments, I think GPS tracking is really a must-have to better manage your wagons fleet.
Okay, great. Then we'll go back to that GPS tracking and having every information regarding tracking in the same place and with easy access. That actually makes sense. Then we're reaching our fifth best practice. What is that last one?
Yeah, it's the what are the gain we can get, and yeah, starting on the gain and a bit coming back on what I have explained before. I don't know if you have faced, in the past, it always happened that sometimes you lose a rail car, and it can be a nightmare to find back where they are. So it's difficult to estimate the time you save for your customer service, for your supply chain, but for sure you save some time with having this real-time visibility. But what I would like to discuss is about modal shift. So having more visibility on your rail fleet and rail shipment, then you can give some trust, about the rail. So and then you can start to move a bit more road shipment to rail shipment. I don't say 100%, but you can start to move. And what you need, to know, at least is the data I have. So in terms of weight, okay, one wagon is 2.5 trucks. So basically, if we took the Arkema rail footprint, so when we ship 3,000 wagons, it's the equivalent of less 7,500 trucks on the road. But also, it can be discussed for price. Rail can be cheaper after it's if you take the picture at one time, maybe you can have a different view, but what is obvious, and there is no discussion, is the CO2 emission reduction with rail. So in Arkema, we estimate around 5 times less CO2 emission. So the figure I have is rail freight is around 20 grams per carbon dioxide per ton per kilometers, when road is 85 gram. So yeah, then it comes to 4 to 5 times less CO2 emissions. And as I explained, having more visibility, you can start to switch to road. And if something occurs on the rail network, you can have some backup, send some truck as a backup. If you know that the rail car will not reach our customer on time, maybe you can send a truck. So then with this visibility, you have better understanding where are your rail car and what can be a risk or not, and then you can move this movement to more rail shipment. After, what I would like to discuss is the fleet reduction. So, okay, at the beginning of the project, we say, okay, pushing by the finance, we say, okay, we want 5% fleet reduction after 1 year. After the experience we had, it takes a bit more time to really have the reduction in terms of fleet of rail car, because in rail, it occurs often some events like strike or flooding or so many reasons to have a disturbance. And then it's difficult when you look at a small time to say, okay, I have reduced my fleet. But no, definitely 5 years after we launch the project, now we are operating and shipping more with the same fleet. So we definitely gain some efficiency. But I have been challenged a lot of time, 6 months after the project, 1 year, and at that time I was not able to really give the 5% reduction target. But now, after some time, we are more able to demonstrate that we have gained in terms of efficiency. Then maybe something I would like to discuss, and all about the gain. I will be happy to have your question and to discuss after all. One other, it's not a gain, but it can be a way to justify your tracking cost, because installing GPS and tracking, it has a cost. It's not, I would say, not huge, but it has a cost. And finally, the way we justify the cost were more on the fact that with our customer, we were able to detect, okay, when it's arrived to their facility, when it has left, and in case they use our wagons as a storage and keeping more than 15 days or whatever, we have in the contract some demurrage penalties. It's kind of a service. They use our rail car for they do some retention. So, and what we were quickly able to demonstrate is we have a powerful tool with EverySense to calculate this and to better being able to recharge, and it's difficult for the customer based on GPS. You don't need blockchain. Based on the GPS and the report they give, they say, yeah, okay, I keep it for quite a long because okay, maybe I have some operational issue or whatever, and it's really facilitate the discussion we have with our customer when we want to discuss that. And at the end, yeah, this what we get from the penalties is covering the tracking cost, and it's easier to demonstrate quickly than the fleet reduction, which is more long term.
Okay, thank you, Damien. I think that's it for the best practices for now. If the audience has some questions, please you can ask them. I don't see any yet, but I'm sure you do have a lot of questions for Damien. In the meantime, let me summarize these 5 best practices so everyone has it in their mind. So we said create a single source of truth with that real-time transport tracking, which helps to foster the collaborations with all of your partners in this project. In your case, and in the case of many in the audience, it's also about shipment security due to the fact that you have hazardous goods, etc., and also to comply basically with some legal requirements. The capacity to tackle challenges of international deployments, and basically having a good tracking is already helping a lot with these challenges. And as of for any challenges, if you know them beforehand, then you can prepare and be ready to overcome them when they arise. And lastly, a very good one is to know that you do have some gain levers using real-time visibility and tracking. With this digitization, you can have more modal shifts, which is very good for your carbon rejections. You can also reduce your fleet in the long term, sorry. And you can also quite easily cover just tracking costs by not having your sleeping wagons just sleeping, but also being a lever for you to cover those costs. So that I think 5 very interesting best practices. Thank you, Damien, for sharing those with us. Let me now have a look if we have some questions from the audience. Let me first have a look
Yes.
here. So we have one in the chat, I see. So Carla is asking, if I understood correctly, you are working with wagon owner installed GPS devices. How is this working for you in terms of possible unit malfunctioning, unit renewals needs, and everything else?
Yes, good question. First thing, yeah, as I explained a bit, we monitor in Arkema at central level. Also, the people operating, they tell us when something is not working. But also, every sense, you have some report and you are checking if a rail car stopped to send some GPS information. So you have a report to inform us, and usually as soon as we have that, so we go, we share with the wagon owner, and we ask them to investigate. They check in their platform, etc. Also, us, when the wagon is back to our plant, we go to the wagons and we take a look if something looks strange. But yeah, they're really responsible of the wagon owner. They are responsible to maintain it. So normally, they know the lifetime and they have some maintenance plan and know it's installed. And when they do some maintenance, it's a bit transparent for me, but they replace the GPS if they are too old, or but some are working with the solar panel also, but they are checking that, and they are responsible to give us a good visibility. And also, okay, it can happen that there is some issue. They are also responsible at the the end if they need to change something, or they are the one to take care. So usually we detect, but after they manage the issue. And yeah, for the question, unit renewal, yeah, it's planned in their maintenance.
Okay, great. Thank you, Damien. I hope that answers your question, Carla. I see that you have another one. I might take a question from someone else first before coming back to you if you have a bit more time, if you don't mind. So we had a question from Marion, which has been upvoted once. So I'll take that one first. She asked, given all the advantages of rail, does Arkema have set objectives to shift a percentage of good transportation from road to rail?
No, we don't have a big figure overall. After at business unit, when we did the project, we had some objective. Yeah, I don't remind in detail, but not crazy objectives. But like from one route, I remember we were about 30 to 40% by rail and 60% by road, and the target was to be at 60% by rail and 40% by road. After it's fluctuating, but we reached that target for this specific business unit. But right now we don't have a big objective going from the top. We have the objective to maximize, to do more, but I don't have really a figure to say. And we have our objective in terms of CO2 reduction, and this is participating, but I don't have a really fixed target defined for rail.
I was mute. Thank you. I hope, Marion, that's a good answer to your question. Thank you for asking. And we can take also question from Jean-Marie, which also has been upvoted. Thank you guys for using the features of Livestorm. So Damien, do you think that the project management approach for rail freight transport projects has specific difficulties compared to other projects in the field of supply chain, execution, transport, logistics, etc.? Thank you, Jean-Marie.
No, yeah, I would say not really, but yeah, there is some specificities. For example, at the beginning when we give the go to install 100% of our fleet, it took time to equip all, because you need at some point you need to have it or in a workshop or in Arkema plant. You need to do the action to install the tracker. So that part took a bit of time, because the rotation of rail is not like a truck. Yeah, and you need some people. But after you did this effort, I mean, it's not so difficult, because the wagon owner, after they include in their maintenance protocol, and it's start to be quite transparent. So it's, yeah, it took some time. What I say is regarding that, it took some time to do the project. The project was a bit maybe longer than maybe for other projects, but yeah, no big challenge, I would say.
Wow, great. Thank you, Damien. I hope that's good for you, Jean-Marie. Let's take another one, and let's take the second one of Carla, who has been patiently waiting for her second question, which is what is required from Arkema operational staff to register deliveries in the Eversense system?
Nothing. So that's the good part, because in fact we have connected our SAP, and when we send something to the railway undertaker, we send the same message to Eversense, and basically they are able to create the shipment with the itinerary, the departure date, and then they are able to start to track. So yes, at the beginning, when we just start to work with EverySense, this process was manual, but we switch after 6 months. We switch to automatically. After it was the question for the return, and as I mentioned, we did a project with Fret SNCF so as soon as Fret SNCF has a shipment for Arkema, they are pushing this information to EverySense, and thanks to that, because we don't have in our system the return, we are able to track the return. So maybe if you start to work with EverySense, so you will have the two options, or you connect your system, or maybe you connect to the rail undertakers to automate this shipment creation. I hope I answer your question, Carla.
I'm sure you did. Just taking the time, I think we have time for one more. I can see that Stella has also asked a question. That will be the last one. If you have more, you have our contacts. Don't worry. So last question for you, Damien. Is Arkema located in Germany? I think you are. And so do you have also a need for rail transport in this country?
Yes, exactly. We have one of our big rail provider is in Germany. The factory is Leuna, and we quite ship a lot from there. So and we ship in Germany, but also all across Europe. So definitely yes, and to be honest, is where, as I explained, GPS. So it's not dependent of really country. So where is your rail car in Europe, you will get some visibility. So yes, we are in Germany, and we are definitely tracking our rail shipment from Germany.
Okay, thank you. I hope that definitely answers Stella's question, I think. So that was the last question from the audience. On our side, we have one last question for you. If you can take just a few seconds to answer the last survey to know if you've enjoyed this RailTech Masterclass. I showed it, so thank you very much, Damien, for your presence and your intervention and all your answers to the question. That was very, very interesting. And we were very happy to have you for our first RailTech Masterclass. And to have also everyone in the audience. Thank you for asking questions and for being present. You have here our contact if you have more questions regarding this or regarding rail operations, what EverySense is doing, etc. And you will be receiving the replay of that masterclass tomorrow or today or tomorrow in your inbox email. So you can rewatch it, and if anything comes up, you can definitely ask us any other question. So thank you everyone, and I wish you a very good and wonderful day.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you.